Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're tackling a big topic that's been buzzing around the internet, the Great Reset. Some people say it's a conspiracy theory plot to reshape the world as we know it. Others argue it's a legitimate plan aimed at addressing global issues like inequality and climate change. So, what's the truth? Is the Great Reset a conspiracy? Or is it something else entirely? Stick around as we break it all down and explore the facts behind the buzz. Before we get into the details, let's start with a basic question. What is the Great Reset? The term comes from the World Economic Forum, or WEF, an organization you've probably heard of before. They host annual meetings in Davos, Switzerland, where global leaders from politics, business, and civil society come together to discuss big issues like the economy, technology, and global cooperation. In 2020, Klaus Schwab, the founder of the WEF, introduced the Great Reset as a response to the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. He argued that the world needed a big reset, not just a recovery, but a chance to rethink the way we live and work. According to Schwab, this is an opportunity to build a more inclusive, fair and sustainable world. Sounds ambitious, right? So, what does this reset actually involve? The Great Reset is built on three main pillars: economic reform, environmental sustainability, and social equality. First, it's about changing how we think about the economy. Schwab and the WEF suggest moving away from shareholder capitalism, where businesses focus only on profit, and toward what they call stakeholder capitalism. This means businesses should also care about the environment, their workers, and the communities they serve. Next, the environmental pillar. The Great Reset emphasizes addressing climate change by shifting to green energy and sustainable practices. The idea is that as we recover from the pandemic, we shouldn't just rebuild the old systems, but create new ones that are better for the planet. In his book, COVID-19, The Great Reset, Schwab talks about the need to rethink how societies function. He argues that the pandemic revealed deep inequalities, and if we don't address them, we'll end up with even bigger problems down the road. This leads us to the third pillar, social reform. The WEF calls for policies that reduce inequality and ensure that no one gets left behind in this new, post-pandemic world. But here's where things get controversial. While Schwab and the WEF talk about the Great Reset as a positive vision for the future, many people are skeptical. They see it as something more sinister. In fact, conspiracy theories about the Great Reset have been spreading like wildfire online. Some believe that the Great Reset is really about global elites trying to gain control over the economy, governments, and even our daily lives. They point to phrases like "build back better," which you might have heard politicians using, and claim it's part of a larger plot to centralize power. So, how did this all start? Why are people so suspicious? A big reason is that the Great Reset aligns with concerns about globalization, which some feel benefits only the rich and powerful while leaving ordinary people behind. But the real fuel for these conspiracy theories came from a viral video clip from the World Economic Forum, where Klaus Schwab talks about the future of the world. This quote, "You will own nothing and be happy," became a lightning rod for conspiracy theorists. They argue that the Great Reset is about taking away personal property and freedoms. In reality, though, the WEF was talking about how technology and the sharing economy could change our relationship with ownership. Think about it. Companies like Uber and Airbnb have already shifted how we view owning cars or homes, but, of course, the internet ran with it. The conspiracy theories started gaining traction in 2020, as the pandemic brought unprecedented government control over people's lives, things like lockdowns, business closures, and even travel bans. Suddenly, the idea of a global reset seemed more plausible to some. Add to that the spread of misinformation on social media, and you have the perfect storm. According to a report by the BBC, mentions of the Great Reset on social media platforms skyrocketed after that Schwab quote went viral. Theories ranged from the idea that COVID-19 was planned to kickstart this reset to claims that the Great Reset is just another name for the New World Order, a conspiracy theory that's been around for decades. Let's bring some facts into the mix. A study by the Institute for Strategic Dialogue looked at how conspiracy theories like the Great Reset spread online. They found that these ideas often thrive in environments where there's a lack of trust in institutions, governments, media, even science. This lack of trust is a key driver behind many modern conspiracy theories, and it's no wonder people are skeptical. Over the past few decades, we've seen financial crises, political scandals, and now a global pandemic. These events shape people's trust and create fertile ground for conspiracies to grow. So, is the Great Reset a conspiracy or a real plan? Let's break it down. On the one hand, the Great Reset is a real initiative proposed by the World Economic Forum. It's a vision for how the world could rebuild after COVID-19, focusing on making the economy more sustainable and fairer. But on the other hand, the conspiracy theories surrounding it are largely based on misunderstandings, fear, and distrust. The key difference here is intent. The WEF sees the Great Reset as a chance to address global issues like climate change and inequality. The conspiracy theorists, however, see it as a way for elites to control and exploit the rest of the world. So, why does this matter? Well, the way we interpret ideas like the Great Reset can shape how we respond to the challenges of the future. If we see it as a conspiracy, we may reject efforts to make positive changes in society. But if we approach it with a critical yet open mind, we can start important conversations about how to build a better world. At the end of the day, the Great Reset raises some important questions. How should we reshape the global economy after the pandemic? What can we do to address climate change? And how can we reduce the growing inequality around the world? These aren't easy questions, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution, but we can start by being informed. Do your research, look at multiple sources, and don't fall into the trap of believing everything you see on social media. So, where do we land? Is the Great Reset a conspiracy theory? Until next time, stay curious and keep asking questions.